Hello everybody out there. It is Thursday again. You know what that means. It's time for a new video blog. I can't believe it, but we are already at PlayStation Vita video blog number 4. Alright, so let's get right into it. First up, just want to say, as always, thanks for the subscriptions, thanks for the follows on Twitter, thanks for everything you guys have been doing. We are very close to hitting the 3,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. That will be a big one for us. And as I've stated in some previous videos, if we get that subscriber mark up a little bit more, I will definitely start doing some game giveaways and things like that. I think that would be a lot of fun. Something I would definitely love to do. Some more interaction with the viewers out there. I think that would be great. So if you have any friends or anyone you know on gaming forums or anything else is interested in the Vita, send them my way. Yeah, I'll get them set straight on the Vita, and we can all have a little bit more fun. So yeah, first off, let's talk about sales. The PlayStation Vita has now been out for about a month, not quite a month. So we do have last week's sales numbers in. They just came in last night. So for the week of January 2nd to January 8th, the Vita sold 42,915 units, which is okay. It is actually up a few hundred units from the week before. The week before was 42,648. So both weeks at 42K, jumped up from 648 to 915. You know, the jump, I was hoping it was going to be a little bit higher simply because this week, the 2nd to the 8th, is a big week here in Japan. Kids here for New Year's, if you don't know, they get shitloads of money. They get socks full of money. Not actually socks, but they get envelopes full of money from their relatives. Some kids get as much as $1,000, probably even higher than that. So yeah, the week from the 2nd to the 8th is a big week in that kids go out and they spend their money. Now I think part of the reason that it didn't jump up much higher is that the Vita isn't really geared toward kids at all yet. Kids who are into Sony are still really into the PSP. The PSP is still selling gangbusters over here. So I'm not too worried. You know, the fact that it held above 40,000, it's still holding decently. You know, a lot of Nintendo fanboys out there are saying it's already dead, that these are shit numbers and this, that, and the other. You know, they're not great, but they're not horrible. We'll see where it goes from here. I think the 3DS at its lowest point dropped to about 20,000 units a week. Of course, that was you know, well after launch, at least a month or two out. So we'll see when this ends up going down and down and down. We'll see if it does hit down to that 20K mark soon. We'll also see if any of the titles coming out soon will make the number of units sold go up much. I don't think Tales of Innocence R at the end of this month will help much, but we'll have to see what Gravity Days does and what some other games do next month. It could be pretty nice. It might not help at all. We'll see. So I am interested in seeing what happens. The other thing Sony said was that worldwide, which right now includes just Japan and Hong Kong, basically. I think that includes Singapore as well, that they had sold 500,000 Vitas as of January 5th. So yeah, that was a week ago today. So as of that day, they had sold 500,000 Vitas. By that number, I think around that time, maybe it had shown that they had sold a bit over 50,000 Vitas outside of Japan. But that's just a quick look over at the numbers on my side. I haven't figured out anything exactly. So yeah, anyway, we'll see how it continues to sell over there and in other places. And of course, we have the big worldwide releases coming next month in a bunch of places: Korea, the States, Canada, Australia, the UK. So that stuff will all be hitting soon. So yeah, we'll just have to see how it does going forward. Next topic is just a couple of announcements for you American viewers out there. Number one, CES just finished and Sony was there talking about the Vita, and they announced that Netflix will be available for the PlayStation Vita at launch in the States. So if you are someone in the United States, I had a lot of people asking about Netflix. Other people don't care so much since it's already out on every device out there pretty much. But yeah, many people wanted to know, will this thing be able to stream Netflix like everything else? Yeah, it will. No problem. Netflix support will be there on the Vita at system launch in the States, so look forward to that. The other announcement for the States was the 3G price announcement, another question people have been giving me a lot. What will the prices be in the States for the 3G? Here in Japan, you know, everyone was saying, well, what is it in Japan? It might be comparable. Here in Japan, prices are a little more expensive. It's about, roughly, thanks to the strength of the yen, $55 to $60 for unlimited data here. Which is pretty high, but that's just what it is. That's what people are paying, so that's what it costs. Anyway, the prices for the States. There's two plans you have, and they're both non-committal. You can do them month to month and turn them off at any time with no activation fee. So you can do 250 megabytes for a month. That plan is $15. So if you pay $15 a month, you can use up to 250 megabytes. And if you pay $25, you can use up to 2 gigabytes. So there is no unlimited plan. Obviously, it's AT&T. They're not offering unlimited plans on their smartphones anymore, so no big surprise there. And yes, many of you will be saying, oh, these are the same prices as the iPad. Yeah, it's the same prices as the iPad. $15 for 250 megabytes, $25 for 2 gigabytes. The other unfortunate announcement is that AT&T has announced the Vita will be locked. So your SIM card will be locked to AT&T. So as of right now, the only system out there is the Hong Kong Vita, is an unlocked system. So if you're really craving, you know, an unlocked system that you can use any SIM card inside, import the Hong Kong version. I don't think the currency between the States and the Hong Kong dollar is too bad, so it shouldn't set you back too incredibly higher than it would, you know, just buying it in the States, you know. So if you want to shell out a few extra dollars there for an unlocked Vita, go for it. Okay, moving right along, the next topic is analog sticks. People want to know, how are the analog sticks on the Vita? And the other thing people ask me a lot is, do the sticks click in? AKA, are there L3 and R3 buttons? Conveniently, I have a PS3 controller here. So if you're familiar with the PS3 controller, you'll know that these click in, and that is actually a button on each stick there, L3 and R3 buttons. Here I've got my Vita. No, these sticks do not click in at all. They don't even, you know, push in at all, so you don't even have to worry about it. There's no mistake and there's no button there. So people have been saying, oh wow, there's no L2 R2, there's no L3 R3. Isn't it kind of limiting the number of buttons you have on there compared to a PS3 controller? Yes and no. It depends on, you know, the game, really. I can't really think of too many games that use, you know, L1, L2, R1, R2, and L3 and R3, you know, all 6 of those buttons at the same time, very importantly, without letting you assign it somewhere else. This does, of course, Vita has the back panel here. Very important because that could easily be mapped to R2 and L2. I'm very pleased to announce that any game so far that I've used with the back panel has been wonderful. The back panel is simple touch. It feels just like you're using a button. And of course it also acts like a touch screen, so you can do pinch in, pinch out. It supports all that stuff. That back panel was really ingenious by Sony. It was something that I really didn't see coming. We're so used to touch screens these days, but that's a back touch. Yeah, I think that is great. So very nice. So yeah, anyway, the analog sticks. I will say the biggest surprise for me using the Vita originally, the analog stick doesn't feel like it pushes very far. Honestly, that was my biggest surprise the first time I pushed it. What I mean by that is this stick, it travels quite a bit here before it hits the edge. It feels like you give it a good push before it hits there. With the Vita, not really. Just a little bit of a push and you're already at the edge. At first I was like, wow, that thing doesn't travel very far. I am completely used to it now, and it's not even an issue to me anymore at all. I don't even think about it. I've gotten so used to the way the analog sticks on Vita work. They feel perfect. They feel like great analog sticks. But I'm just giving you my initial impressions so that many of you, when you buy your Vita, you might feel like, wow, the stick doesn't seem like it travels very far. Yeah, it's the way it is. I mean, obviously it's a smaller analog stick. Of course, if we look at the two here, yeah, the size of those analog sticks is very different. So yeah, you have to take that into account. I think the analog sticks on the Vita are wonderful. People have been asking, is it better than the 3DS slide pad? You know, it's a little bit different, but I will go with the analog sticks. I like the slide pad on the 3DS a lot, don't get me wrong, but I think the analog stick on the Vita is more of what we're used to with home consoles, and obviously that's what I use a lot when I game. So I'm very happy to announce that it feels like that, just in slightly smaller form. So very nice, very happy with the analog sticks. So I hope that covers the questions people had about the analog sticks and the lack of L3, R3. Okay. So I want to get to the meat of this this video blog here, and today I'm going to basically be doing my system review. Yes, my system review of the PlayStation Vita. I have had this thing to play with for about a month now, a little less than a month, so I feel like I've had enough time with it. I've played a ton of games. I own 6 retail games, and I've played a couple of PSP games on it, and obviously I've played a lot of the demos that are available out there. So I do feel like, I can give you a pretty good review of the system. So why don't we go with the pros first? The first pro, straight out of the box, you're going to know this thing has a huge screen and it's beautiful. This OLED screen is amazing. It will blow your mind. If you have not used one yet, this is like an HD TV in your pocket. It is very, very colorful. Even me as, an iPhone, iPad user, I believe those screens are pretty nice. Particularly the iPhone is obviously a Retina display, so quite nice. This thing still blew me away. 5-inch screen. It is just amazing. Amazing to have that on a handheld, so very happy about that. The other thing I really like about the system is that the inputs are awesome. You have the typical setup over here. You have a very nice D-pad over here. Again, dual analog sticks. That is gaming bliss. That is gaming bliss, and this is the only system where you have real built-in dual analog sticks that don't make the system itself look ridiculous. With some sort of add-on like the 3DS has. This is amazing. These sticks are great. Very, very nice. Of course, start and select here, PlayStation button here, L and R on top. They feel very nice, a bit like the PSPs did. And then you have this huge, back touchpad that you can use for anything. Again, L and R back here if you want it. You have it as a touchpad, pinch in, squeeze out. You've got the whole thing. Not to mention you've got a whole touch screen here. You can add extra buttons to the sides here. Basically the options for input are limitless, and they can make games control however they want with all the inputs on this thing. Love that, love that. That is amazing, so very happy about that. And the other thing I want to talk about is the capabilities of this system are just off the charts for a handheld system. It is just amazing to have a dedicated handheld console that does what the Vita does, and I am incredibly excited about what it will do, what it has not done yet. Obviously, we are still in the launch period. We've seen a lot of ports. We've seen a lot of games that have been pushed to get out really quickly. I think Gravity Days will be the first really big one where it's like, okay, this is a game that's been in development for a while. It's a big adventure, a bit of an open world, RPG elements. This game could really show us what the Vita can do, so I'm very excited to see that. So yeah, basically those are, the main pros of the Vita. Of course, function-wise, it's got some amazing functions. You don't have to pay to use the PSN network. On Vita, there is no PSN Plus subscription or anything yet. It doesn't do anything. But you can still have cross-game chat with, up to 8 people in your party. And again, no cost. Works perfectly with the Bluetooth headset. Things like that are amazing. Seamless trophy support back and forth with the PS3. You add to your gamer score while you're on the go. Stuff like that is just awesome. It is. There are a few hiccups, but it is so intertwined with what Sony has done so far on the PSN that it is amazing. When you leave your house, you take your Vita, you still basically feel like you're playing your PlayStation. It's not quite up to PlayStation 3's graphics, but it is so close, and it will get even closer as more games come out. It is just mind-blowing. Uncharted really showed that off to me. Yeah, I thought that was really great. So why don't we get into some of the cons of the system? As an owner and as someone who really likes the thing, obviously there will be little nagging issues that come up with anything you buy, and the Vita obviously is not exempt from that. So I will just bring up some issues. Again, I don't feel like any of these are deal breakers, but I think these are things that people should know about. Number one, if you leave Wi-Fi on and you leave the house. So I use Wi-Fi when I'm at home, and I leave often. And you have to go into the system menu to turn it off, so I often don't. I just leave it on, because whatever. If you leave the house, as you're walking around, if your Vita picks up a Wi-Fi signal, it will pop up on the screen and say, hey, there's a signal, do you want to connect to it? Very similar to the way an iPhone does. That's all fine and well, but if you are playing a game on the Vita and that screen wants to pop up, there's a 2 or 3 second lag before that will actually pop up, where your face buttons don't work at all. So you can control your character, the game is still moving, it does not pause. However, you can't use your face buttons. And then finally, 2 or 3 seconds later, that will pop up. and kind of pause your game. This can be very annoying, as you might imagine. I've been playing games, where you use X to attack or something like that. So I'm sitting there attacking over and over, and all of a sudden my guy's not doing anything, and I'm just getting the shit kicked out of me, and I'm going, what is going on? And then the Wi-Fi screen pops up, and you go, oh, this again. So they really need to just kind of fix that. Obviously, it's something that could be fixed with the software, so not a big deal there. Number two, similar issue is the screenshot lag. The Vita does have built-in screenshot capabilities. By pressing start and the PlayStation button at the same time, you can take screenshots of the game you're playing, assuming it supports it. But doing that often causes quite a bit of lag, and there are certain games where it cuts the functions of the face buttons, just like the Wi-Fi lag I just talked about. You can't use them. It is very annoying. One game that I saw kind of make its way around that was Little Deviants. When you take a screenshot, the game actually pauses itself. So it takes the screenshot from before you paused it and then pauses the game. So it gives you a second to update the system. I'm not sure if this is just something they can't fix or if eventually they will fix it and it won't, lag the system out to take a screenshot. But if it does end up not being able to be fixed, I can see more developers putting in the way Little Deviants did it, where it will pause the system for you so you can let your system recover for a second from the screenshot lag. Number three I'm going to bring up is Nier. I've shown the app off in another video. I think the app is pretty cool, but I believe that this is the root of a lot of issues with the Vita freezing right now. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about how PlayStation Vita, a lot of these systems have been freezing up. I've talked to a lot of owners, and most of them say it happened when they were either using Nier, updating Nier, or doing something with Nier. So I don't believe the Nier software is quite up to par yet. Also, Nier itself is just kind of strange. If you saw my video, I explained how it works, but there are just some oddities with it. It doesn't seem as streamlined. Even looking through the instruction booklet, there are just some functions in there. I don't know exactly how it works. Even if I have auto updating on, sometimes it doesn't auto update, and this and that. I just wonder if this software was just a little bit rushed. So yeah, hopefully they'll get that fixed. Again, these are all things. Everything I've mentioned so far is something that could hopefully be fixed through a software update. Okay. Number four, another thing that I really hope they fix, and this is the last con of the Vita that I'm going to talk about so far, is there is no memory log on this thing. If you don't know what I mean by memory log, I'm talking about a function similar to what the 3DS has. I don't know what it's called in English. Obviously, I'm using a Japanese 3DS. But basically, there's an application on the 3DS that keeps track of how many minutes, or hours you've put into every single game you own. It keeps track of every single game you've ever played on the system. Even if you take it out, sell it, do whatever. 5 years from now, I can look and see that, on January 12th, 2012, I played Gravity Days for, 4 hours, and that made my 36th hour total, and in the end I played 80 hours on the game, or this is an example, but something like that. I think that kind of capability is so awesome. Years down the line, I am totally the type of guy who wants to look back and say, wow, I played that game? I don't even remember that. Or, yeah, that game was awesome, I should play it again. Or, wow, I put, 100 hours into this game that is just, now regarded as the biggest piece of crap ever. I love being able to look through on the 3DS, look back, see exactly how much time I've put into every single game, see what demos I've played. It basically is just a log of everything that you've ever done. It's your memory log. I really wish the Vita had a function like that. I hope it's something that, people tell Sony about and they add in, because I think that is just one of the coolest things about the 3DS, is that it keeps track of all of that. Very, very cool. Very, very neat. So yeah, anyway, those are the overall pros and cons of the Vita. The cons are obviously very specific. As for the hardware itself, I don't think there are any cons in general with this thing. There are no, in my opinion, no updates needed to the hardware. Screen itself is beautiful, wonderful. The controls work very well. Back touch is awesome. The system is very thin. It's already quite light. The system is bigger, but that's mostly has to do with the fact that it, has a humongous screen on there. So, I did mention those list of cons. I don't want people out there to go, wow, these things really suck. I'm not going to buy it. No, this system still excites me so much that I want to shake Oprah Winfrey and jump up and down on her couch about it. I'm so stoked about the future for this thing. The games are looking amazing, and you know, that's one of the biggest things right now is we just need to see more games for this thing. There need to be more announcements, so I hope that these slightly slow sales numbers don't deter companies from wanting to put new games on this thing and seeing where it goes. Yeah, but I do want to add on to that. The numbers right now are very, very similar to where the PSP was at after a few weeks. And we all know how the PSP turned out, at least in Japan. It turned out very, very, very well, mostly in thanks to Monster Hunter, but there ended up being some awesome games on the PSP. I'm not looking for this thing to beat the 3DS. I own a 3DS. I love handheld gaming, period. I know that Nintendo will always kind of have this monopoly or stranglehold on the handheld market as long as they keep doing what they're doing. Nintendo games are like crack for children in Japan. They just eat it up. And that's fine. That's great. There are some awesome games on there. But with the capabilities this system has, this system does not deserve to be a niche handheld system. This is the handheld system. This technology is simply amazing for what it is. And I feel like anyone who appreciates gaming should at least play one of these things. And if there's a game you like on there, you know, pick it up. This thing is amazing. The capabilities are awesome. A few little glitches in there that I just talked about. But yeah, that's my recommendation. I'm not going to score the hardware. My recommendation is if you like any of the games on this thing, pick it up. You will not be disappointed. This thing blew me away the first time I played it. A month later, I'm still incredibly excited about this thing. I mean, I've made a video every day for like the last 3 weeks about this thing. And I'm not even really a fanboy. So, I mean, that's just crazy. That's how excited I am about the future of this thing. So I really hope everything just keeps going all right and that more games get announced for this. So, sorry about my little rant there. But, you know, I hope you enjoyed my review of the hardware. I learned a few new things. Obviously, there are a few other cons in there that people have talked about before. The memory cards are a little bit expensive. Some games save to themselves and others save to the memory card. If they were going to do that in the first place, I just wish every game would save to the memory card so that if I ever end up selling games and wanting them later, I will still have my saves. But you can't do that. Some games will only save to themselves. But these are just little things that hopefully can all be worked out through, you know, software updates. Obviously, a few things were a little rushed to get the Vita out in time for at least Christmas in Japan. But hopefully this is all stuff that will be fixed through software updates. We will get those updates and life will be good. So I look forward to that. Okay? In closing, just a couple of announcements. 2 announcements, actually. There has been an announcement that the Ragnarok Odyssey, a game I am looking forward to that will be out in early February, there will be a demo of that up on January 19th. What does that mean for you? That means that you will get, of course, a playthrough video of the demo. So look forward to that. We'll probably get that up on the 19th or the 20th, right around there. So please look forward to that. And I hope it's a good game. We'll see. And finally, Super Stardust Delta, a game that I know a lot of people are very excited for, has finally been set in stone today. It is also coming out on the 19th, a week from today, next Thursday. That was already decided. However, the price hadn't been decided yet. It's going to launch at 1,000 yen. It's a download-only title, a PSN title. 1,000 yen. It's about, you know, $13 or so over here. Very, very fair. Happy to pay that. Yeah, so I will look forward to that. And another game I will get videos up for you guys on. So you don't have to keep just looking at me ranting all day on a video blog. You can actually look at some gameplay videos. But keep checking back. I will have gameplay videos for a couple of games that I haven't gotten up yet. You know, Little Deviants is one that I wanted to get the demo up for. I don't know if there's any interest out there for Kamaitachi no Yoru. Night of the Kamaitachi, I think it's translated as. Officially in English. But it's a demo that I've played through. Yeah, if there's any interest out there in what the demo looks like, I'll be happy to put it up and maybe translate it for you guys as I play it, just so you can know what the hell's going on, because it's mostly like a storybook. Yeah, so very, very cool. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Obviously, it went a little longer because I wanted to get that system review up there, so you guys could basically hear my final word on Vita. So yeah, that's it for today. Keep checking back for gameplay videos and more. Yeah, look back every day. As of right now, I'm getting videos up every day, so I hope you enjoy them. Thanks a lot. If you have not yet, please subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter. You know, whatever you want to do. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, and I will see you guys later.